sometimes I have too many things going, so just tell me, because this is my favorite part right here.
Yeah.
This is it. But it's all these other little details that, so just say, Lydia, I need that. And it
Okay.
doesn't even bug me. I'll be like, oh yeah, I need that. I have, for some of my good friends are like very, organized and scheduled, and I'm more laid back, and so they're like, I wish I could have some of you, and I'm like, yeah, well, can give me some of this. So but it's all good. I've learned to work with it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's something else I have had to enjoy and love about myself. And I say I'm organized and I wake up with clarity, knowing what I do, and that really has helped me. But I'm not type A. Like, I'm not, and I never will be. And I've tried, and it stresses me out.
Yeah.
Or I'm not organized. No, I don't want to say type A. I'm just not as organized as some people. I'm organized too. Like, if there's a pile of paper and there's like this little scratch piece of paper with a phone number on it, I know where it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I organize it, I'm thinking, where did I put it?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're like that. You're probably more detailed, aren't you?
Well, before kids I was. I feel like my life is just chaos now, but
Yeah.
But let's see. I have let's see, when was it? Monday night. I had like I get dreams a lot. Like, God's spoken to me through dreams like a lot, but then I also feel like Satan can like get to me there too. And so I think it was Monday night. Yeah. I had a dream, and it was just like a reliving of, like, well, in our marriage, like, the first part was like, it was good. Like, there was two sides. Like, it was good, but it was rough. Like, I really just struggled with Brian's son. I don't know why. I like, that is one thing, like, through this workbook, I felt like it was something just like came over me. Like, it wasn't me. And anyway, and after we had our kids, like, hormonal wise, I just went through a lot, and I was not very nice. I had a lot of expectations of Brian, because I think it was because I couldn't meet what I expected of myself, and so I put it on him.
Yeah.
So anyway, things were kind of rough. And so anyway, he ended up having, what they call like an emotional affair with somebody at work who was an acquaintance of mine. And that was 5 years ago that I found out. And he hates that it happened. And like, he even like he really does like adore me, and it doesn't, like, no matter what size I am, like, he just loves me, and I don't get it sometimes. But anyway, the girl, she just said basically, like, well, we all played our part, like it was my fault and her husband's fault or whatever. And so there was no I never got like
an apology, or like,
yeah, it was. And then I was pregnant when I found out with our second baby. And so after I had Annabelle, I was in Target, and I saw her, and she just was like, oh, hi. Like, and I just thought, seriously, you think that I'm going to sit there and talk to you? And I even approached her at work one time when I still worked a little PRN after I had the kids. And I just said, how is it going? Like, you're not talking to him. Like, are you not talking? And she was like, well, I'm really having a hard time. He was like my best friend. And I was blown away at what, like, he's just the perfect, he was perfect for me. And I'm like, and you don't know him, the Brian at work. Anyway, but I think that, like, I hold on at one time, like, I forgave her, but it just, like, I still have like anger and hate and just awful feelings. And
Well,
I, and it's like, it shouldn't be that I shouldn't need that she feels sorry or feels bad. Like, I don't know. Anyway, okay, so that's a background. So Monday night, I had a dream that Brian agreed to watch her kids, and I had something going on, and her husband came to pick him up, and she saw me and just like, oh, and turned around. And I went out there and confronted her, and she just was like, oh, you're just, and I just kind of was just kind of going off on her. And she was like, well, you're crazy, and, blah, blah, blah. So anytime I'm like kind of doing some healing or something, I feel like a big attack from the enemy, but I can't figure out if it was Satan trying to get to me or if it's God being like, we need to address this, because this is something I need to get to the issue of, or bottom of.
I'm going to send you a dream interpretation video that I did with a lady to kind of help you. And then if you want to talk, I think that she also since God talks to you through dreams, I've gone through dream interpretation things. But so what I'm hearing from this dream is, to me, because you are working, and I wouldn't even look at it as, maybe it's an attack, okay? But it could also just reveal that this is an area that you just need healing and forgiveness on. And so that's what just kind of popped out to me was, I mean, look what you're doing. You're working through all of this. You're working on getting healing. And there's an area maybe that you need healing on. And forgiving somebody like that, I'm going to say something really, really fast about my past because this is about you, but I think it will help you. Like, the marriage I was in for 17 years, he had multiple affairs. Neighbors across the street on my couch while I'm asleep, hired prostitutes when he went on business trips. One of my best friends that I grew up with. Okay, so we're kind of like a soap opera in my family. I am married to Dusty Cagle. He was married to Katrina, who was one of my good friends in high school. I was actually in their wedding. Okay, but she, I guess, had an emotional affair with my husband years before, and then it turned into physical later. And she'd also have an affair with the pastor that they planted a church with, and so it was just this big thing. I did not know. I thought that they had had an affair. Now that's into this big long thing, but I thought that they had had an affair, and then I never could get a peace about it or anything. And finally, God just released me from that marriage. Like, that's a whole nother testimony. I could tell you how God did that. It's like mind blowing. He released me. I left, came here. Dusty and Katrina were here. They were divorced. They were separated. And then she got remarried like the day their divorce was final. Well, our kids knew each other and they had, kind of grown up together. And then, they were wanting to see each other. Well, I didn't really want to see her because I thought this had happened. And she tried to blame it on him. She finally opened up and tried to blame it on him. So she never took, anything that happened. So I called my husband. At the time, we were not divorced, and he was still trying to make this marriage work, whatever. He was back in Virginia. I was back here in Texas. And I said, she told me everything that happened. And he was like, well, what? A lot more happened, he told me. And then I went to tell her, and she said, oh, I forgot that all this happened. And so anyways, the kids kept seeing each other. I got divorced, whatever. And then it was like the kids wanted me and Dusty to get together. And it just happened. Like, we just got together. We've gone through so much. And it's just been such an amazing blessing. However, she had turned it around and said, I have overstepped major boundaries. She's never done anything wrong. She won't admit to anything. So I understand that feeling of she's taking a step further. Well, and like she had told you, we all did our part at doing stuff wrong. She has like viciously attacked me, viciously, false accused me and Dusty of having an affair. I mean, she's narcissistic. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's really the truth. So, are you still? But I say all this because if you are still struggling with this, I can totally help you get over that.
Yeah.
Because I forgive her. Like, I can even have feelings. I can feel God's love for her. And she still causes issue. I'm not saying I don't get mad, but that is an area that you need to have freedom in. And
I'm getting starving.
Okay, honey.
I'll grab something.
Let me know what you're getting. Oh, you have your leftovers in the refrigerator. Yeah, get those and eat those.
Well, I want to be heated.
I can't do that right this second. So you can go back in there and wait, or you can grab it right now, whichever you want. Okay, sorry. So anyway, I mean, do you feel like you've forgiven her, like in your heart, or is it still like?
No, I don't, because like it's horrible, but like if I could harm her, I probably would. Like that's the way I feel.
No.
Like,
and that's how I feel. Or like you hear her voice and you cringe, or you hear her name and you cringe.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah, like like her husband doesn't know. She just had another baby. They have like an organic farm, and I can't even go to the farmer's market because I don't want to see her. And like I don't know. It's like I hate what it stirs in me, you know, just that not nice stuff, because I
know. And it's there because, and look, in my mind, their mom doesn't deserve forgiveness from me. Like that's what I think. She totally turned the kids against us, lied. I mean, oh my gosh, you would not believe the lies. Just unbelievable. So what I had to do, Bree Nicole, no ma'am, I told you would have to wait.
Well, I don't know.
No. What I had to do, and this is not easy, and maybe I've talked to you about this, and you're not going to want to do this, but it brings freedom. So what I would do every day, and I would just say, God, I release Trina to you. I take her off of my hook. I put her onto your hook. She is your daughter, and you love her. I don't love her right now, and I'm telling you all these feelings I have. I mean, they're here. I can't stand her. So you're going to have to come in and heal my heart. And I know your word says that I need to forgive. So as an act of my free will, I'm going to forgive her. I choose to forgive her. I release her to you. I choose to forgive her. I release her to you.
Yeah.
But healing comes when you start praying for her.
Yeah.
And blessings for her the way that you would want to be blessed and the way that you would want to be prayed for. So for instance, because she attacked us with the kids, I would start praying for her relationship with the kids. I would start praying for her marriage to be blessed. I didn't want her marriage to be blessed. She had an affair with my husband, and she lied about it. Not to mention, I'm not going to even go there, but some other stuff that she had done. But I just started praying and praying blessings and releasing and praying blessings and releasing. And eventually that softened my heart. And I would say, God, help me to see her through your eyes. And there were days, it's a constant walk of forgiveness because we still deal with her. Okay. We still have to deal with yucky faces, or when we're with the kids are so nervous to be around it. However, God is so amazing that the kids have started coming over again and they love us. And because God continued to say, I am your justification. I am your vindicator. We would do God flips, and every time I'd flip, it was like a scripture on God being my vindicator. Don't you worry about it. I will handle it. And he knows what they have done, and he knows your heart. So that's your challenge right there, is to say, I give her to you. I take her off my hook, put her on yours. She's your daughter and you love her. She's hurt me. Get all those hurts out. because if you've never really gotten them out to God, maybe you have, but if you haven't, they just kind of sit in there, and we don't want to cover them up. We want to get them out and deal with them. And this is another way you're dealing with them, is you're talking to me about them. And, you know, and have you forgiven your husband?
I really, yeah. The problem I've got is just trust, because like, I think it's just the history in my life, like friends, like I've got good friends that I've prayed for and God's brought to me now, but like just friends, like I never had a good friend growing up. And boys, like my parents were pretty strict, and it was, you know, like, you don't sleep with anybody till you're married. Well, my mom said that. There was never any like talk about anything. It was just, that was an expectation. And it was more like I wasn't comfortable with my body, even though like I was thin. I just was very modest or whatever. And so guys would not want to, like, they wanted to date me, but then if I wouldn't do anything, then they moved on. And so I think I was talking to a friend about it, like, I guess like that internal, like, why am just me? Like, am I not good enough? Like, why does it have to be, you know, more stuff? But then, you know, after the date rape in college, just, I kind of just would binge drink and not even know, and just wake up like, and guys have taken advantage of me, or I've just drunkenly, you know, engaged in stuff that I guess I was aware of, or maybe, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, your inhibitions go away when you drink and you don't care. It's kind of like, that's how that is. And if you're hurt, it's just you're self-medicating. That's what happens. You self-medicate. We self-medicate with, you know, alcohol, with sex, or whatever for that moment. Yeah.
Well, I just, like, nobody's been consistent in my life except my parents. And even though there's been like they're great, but there's been like, you know, hurtful things or something, like, you know, feeling, you know, pressure to be somebody I'm not or something, like, they're always there and they always will be. And my tendency is, when somebody hurts me, I put a wall up and I just move on. And I can't do that with my husband. Like, I don't want to. So that it took a long time, but he just kind of, has to really, you know, tell me sometimes, you know, like, all I ever wanted was you, and I love you. And if I, you know, like, I hate myself for what I've done, you know, just like, he generally, one time I woke up in the night and he was crying, which isn't like him. I mean, this was a couple of years ago, and he just was like, I'm so sorry, you know, for what I've done. Like, I need those things, you know, they helped a lot. But just the trust, because then I'm like, well, it could happen again, you know, just anyway. But yeah, I have with him. And that's another thing. I'm like, how can I have forgiven him when I'm like with him and he's so close?
He has shown you.
True. Yeah.
He has shown you he's sorry. Yeah. But it's even harder when somebody doesn't do that, and that you don't feel like they deserve it. But it doesn't matter, because it's your freedom.
I know.
Like, I mean, it's your freedom, because it's not even bothering her.
Yeah.
It's not bothering her. She probably doesn't even think about you. Like, I mean, she could.
Yeah.
Who knows? But what I'm saying is, it's just hurting you. And she does not deserve that place in your life. She does not deserve that place in your life. You deserve to go on. You deserve to release her. So you have freedom. Okay. And sometimes, and believe me, I know that feeling of not wanting to let go because it's not fair, and you think, no, I'm not letting go of this. It feels kind of good to hang on to it a little bit, and you know, somebody did hurt you, and it's scary to let go. It's like this. I don't know why, but it's just scary to let go.
Yeah.
But you won't walk in freedom if you don't. And she doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is trusting God to be your vindicator, trusting God to take care of her. And let me tell you, God wants to bless her as much as he wants to bless you. He wants us all to be healed and restored. There's something in her that's not well. There's something in her there's a hurts. And we don't know why. And that doesn't mean that you need to feel sorry for her or empathy for her. You know, that just means that that's there in her. And anybody who does things like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll work. I mean, that's something to work on. And then just the other thing that you talked about with trust is I'm pretty good at this. And the reason why is because I was married for 17 years to somebody who I couldn't trust.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he's a pastor's kid too. And he's just really messed up. It's really sad. He married a millionaire and the problems got worse. And he started doing drugs again. He was selling drugs illegally when we were married, or guns illegally. I didn't even know these things. So where the trust came was me trusting God.
Yeah.
Where the trust came was me saying, I would pray and God would say, you do what I've called you to do, and I will bless you and I will take care of you. And I'm not saying anything about your husband, but the thing is we can't ever control what they're going to do. As a matter of fact, my ex-husband would say when we were doing good, that gave him confidence to go out there. I mean, how insane is that?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is God is totally about blessing his children. And it's not really conditional. I don't want to say it's conditional because God's grace is there and he loves you. Just like my love for my kids is not conditional. It is not. And I want to bless them no matter what. But I do know when obedience, just saying I trust you, God. I trust you no matter what. If my husband decided to do this, I trust you, because we cannot control what they do, whether we are being the perfect wife, like I just told you, or not.
Yeah.
That's not for us. So just being and let me tell you, getting remarried and what I came through, I mean, Dusty had to hold a shoe literally and drop it. And he said, the shoe's dropped. It's done. It's done. I'm not him, because I would flip if he was in a car on a sales call with a woman, like inside, like total anxiety texting him, because I couldn't handle it.
No, you need to wait. No, I will get you something in a minute.
Yeah. This one was trying to do styrofoam in the microwave with food, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is I had to, even with him, even though he hadn't hurt me, I had to trust. But he showed me I could trust him. He's different. But even when I was in that marriage, I didn't look for things. I stopped looking for things. I stopped looking if he was doing things. And I literally just said, I trust you to show me if I need to know anything. And he would. I trust you that you're taking care of my heart. It's really just between you and the Lord. And then you being able not to ever hold anything over your husband's head, to love him, just to say, because I was really good. If something happened, I could say, I am going to wipe the slate clean if I'm going to go forward. If I'm going to go forward, the slate gets wiped clean and I'm not looking back. And that's what I did. And I didn't look back. And I just kept going because I couldn't be there all the way if I didn't. And so that's including trust. And it's that same thing with you wanting to hang on to her and not let it go. It's the same thing with the trust. Well, maybe, just in case. Letting go and trusting is scary. It's just that whole thing. but again, it's going to be freedom. And I believe that it can bring a new level of intimacy to y'all's marriage,
Yeah.
you know? And so you trust God, not him.
Yeah.
You know
There
what I'm
was
saying?
like a year and a half ago, my husband buys coffee from Black Rifle Coffee Company. I don't know if you've heard of them. Anyway, those guys have like a podcast maybe, but they're like raunchy guys. Like they're, every guy looks at porn, type of, that's just they're not Christians. But anyway, my husband always wanted to be in the military, so they're
so they're like that. Oh yeah.
And so anyway, he was real, like kind of had them on a pedestal for a while. But I just didn't like, the raunchiness, I guess, of those guys. I thought they can't be having a good influence.
No,
but something in me was just like I wanted to be like, you need to quit listening to them, or whatever. But I just felt like God just say, no, don't. And so I just prayed about it. And one day, just randomly, Brian said, he's like, well, I deleted that podcast from my phone because they came out and said, or they're just talking, about porn, and that no matter what a guy says, every guy watches it. And he didn't like that they were talking like that, because he's like, that isn't true. That. Yeah, but it just was a reminder, and just, God just showing me he can do a much better job than I can if I would have done it. And
he can. And I always tell people, even women now, but you have to follow what God says. If he says no, I do. I am a vocalizer. So I do say if something's bothering me, and then I just let it go. And then I'm like, okay, then I'm going to pray. Not that I wasn't praying beforehand, but if it's bugging me, I have to say, hey, this is hurting my heart, or hey, I'm not feeling very comfortable with this. And so, hang on one second.
Okay.
Is everything good? Okay. Hour to hour and a half. Okay, so 12:31. So we could maybe see her around 2, 3, 3:30. Okay. All righty. Okay. Well, I want to try to be there when she wakes up. I'm just trying to find somebody to keep Bree for me. Yes. I'm on a call right now, and I've got a few things, but then, yeah, I can't. Okay. All right. Love you. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. That's my stepdad. He's letting me. I was thinking, oh, well, I better get it in case something happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't remember where I was at. Do you?
No.
Kind of do. Hang on a minute. There's something in my brain. No, I don't. I'm so sorry. But anyways, just that, I know when I say something that kind of hurts me.
Oh, yes.
And then I'm able to say, okay, I got that off my chest, and now I'm going to, but if God tells you no before then, and see how that worked. So God does I always say, here's God, and here's him, here's me, and I can come right in here, and then he can't hear God. Because I'm like, something. But so that was really good. But yeah, I think those two areas are going to be it's not easy to let go and trust completely. It's not easy, but it totally will bring freedom.
Yeah.
To you.
Well, yesterday I had that dream, and then I got in the shower, and I just was overwhelmed. And anyway, I just thought of that song, that you sent, the Letting Go or whatever. And so I played that while I was getting ready. And And later in the day, it was like a couple years ago, I went through this kind of the start of some healing, but it was more of like that God gave us an imagination. And when Jesus, he told parables, you kind of use your imagination to imagine them. But anyway, I just like have this, it's hard to describe, like this place. I don't know if meditate is the right word, but just when I go to spend time with Jesus, like I can picture like me and him there. And like at first it just was like he wasn't there, but it was just like big ice glaciers or whatever. Like my heart was just hard. But then over time it just became just this flowy water. And like anyway, I can picture me and him there just, talking and stuff. But yesterday I just was I just went to that place, but it's like I couldn't let it go, just of that unforgiveness or caring what people think, because that's kind of what was ingrained since a kid, like growing up in a small town, like, the fakeness or whatever, like, anyway.
When you felt that, what'd you do?
Well, I just picture myself like just holding this, like wanting to give it to Jesus, but like I can't, like that just like, and I just prayed, like, help me give it to you, because like I just want him to take it, but like I have to release it. And like I just, a lot of times when I don't know what to pray, or I just like, help me want to, and just help me, too, because.
So what you're saying, and this is what I've learned that brings you freedom and the feelings that come along with it. And God is there to help us. However, he's also given us our tongue and just what we believe in our imagination. And so when you get to that point right there, what you just told me, I'm like, right there. That's where you start writing things down, and you write the opposite. And that's when you start speaking those things. Because when you feel that way, that's when you need to declare truth the most, because what you're feeling are lies. So we need to replace those lies with truth, because none of those feelings are of God. They're all lies. If they're the wrong perspectives, they're the wrong perceptions because of what you went through. So you've got to get that gone. You've got to dig it up, and we're going to replace those with truth. So you can finally quit feeling that cycle over and over and over again. So this is where the action comes into releasing it to God. And then you say, no, I am good enough. I am a child of God. And you start speaking the truth, and you start speaking declarations, and you start, whatever it takes for you to start feeling those, it'll get you out of that funk. Because the power of life and death is where? It's in our tongue. That is where that power is. And so if you can do anything, whenever you start feeling that way, that's where I want you to start doing it, but especially then.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Because I've had trouble like with writing them down and replacing them, because it seems like every time some bad thought or something happens or comes, it's like when I'm driving or, like I'm not, and then then I forget about it, or something. So
So that's when you do it. Yeah. That's when you're like, what is this thought? And it's what do? We take every thought captive. Not just the bad ones, just every thought we take captive. And then we think on these things, because what are you thinking? As a man thinketh, so is he. So what are you thinking on? Mm-hmm. You are in such a habit, we all are, and so used to believing those lies that once we start feeling that way, it just puts us in this depressed funk. Like as you were telling me this, I could feel it. I told you I'm a feeler. I could feel that. Like, oh, I know that, because I will wake up in the mornings And that's when Satan likes to try to attack me. And I will feel anxiety or feel like, oh my gosh, I am unorganized. Oh, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. And I lived that way for years. So then I say, no, those are lies. That's not who I am. And I will start speaking those things and listening while I put my makeup on. And it has taken a while, to the point I am so good now that when my mom says something, I'll go, we're going to change that. Or Dusty, you'll say something and I'll say, that's a scarcity mindset. We've got to get out of the scarcity mindset. And he's like, you're right. To the point he's doing it to me now, and actually getting into walking in that and speaking that way is pretty amazing. It really is, because we are so used to doing the opposite. And how many people are you around that actually do that? It's easier for them to do what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's your other challenge. So what are you going to do? You're going to work on the forgiveness and the trusting, just to let it go and trust God, so you can be like this, not like this. You can be like this, and you can be like this, and you can have freedom, and then you can trust your husband, and you can be like, this is between me and God, because I trust God, and I get to freely love you. No matter what you've done, I love you, I forgive you. I'm in here for the long run. I'm going to wipe that slate clean, and we're going to go forward. And if that little fear comes back in, but what if I do this and then he hurts me again?
Yeah.
Why do I know that? Okay. It's just like, no, it's that same thing you do. I trust God. His plans for me are good. His plans for me are to prosper me. And his plan is for our marriage to prosper. Now, because my marriage, I prayed for my ex-husband. I prayed for him all the time, but it was the most dangerous thing God could have given us, is a free will. Because he wants us to choose him. Yeah. He wasn't going to choose him. He was so messed up. And then I got, I married Dusty and everything. And one day I was cleaning house and I heard God say, I answered every single prayer that you prayed. It just wasn't how you thought it was going to be. And it's better than it was. I mean, Dusty is better than I can even imagine, but he can do that in the marriage you're in too. What I'm saying? So he loves us, and that's why he always said, you do what I'm asking you to do, and you love me, you walk in this, I've got you. I'm gonna bless you. And so he has. I'm not saying everything's hunky-dory. I mean, look what happened with his ex and kids, and it was another growing thing for me. Great. I get to practice love. I get to practice love. I get to, it's not always easy, but whenever you see her or you hear her name, you get to practice this.
Yeah. I put that in one of my goals. Well, it's my last one or whatever that I say out loud twice a day, just on forgiveness and our marriage, and her name is in it, and that I have peace whenever I hear her name or think about her. I can't remember which it is, but anyway, so it's like I'm facing it twice. You know what I mean? Just
yes, you will get there, and it's not like and right? You okay? There are gonna be people you just don't like, and that is okay. I don't like her. That's what's so weird, is I don't like her, but I can feel God's love for her sometimes. Like, she is not somebody that I would like to hang out with. Yeah. She is not somebody that I will put I have healthy boundaries there, to where I do protect, myself, and I forgive, but I don't think you have to like everybody. I just don't. Yeah. But that's different than forgiving, Yeah. So, I don't like my father. I don't. But I love him, and I have forgiven him. But he is not somebody who I have to put boundaries. So I just know that those are those people there.
Yeah.
in my life, but I'm free from them too.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking that poison and keeping it in me.
Yeah.
So, have you done God flips yet?
I did yesterday. Was the first one.
Did anything come up of it? I'm just always curious to see.
Yeah, well, I ended up flipping to, I just, let it fell open to, the story, where Isaac is going to sacrifice his son, but Abraham.
Yeah.
But what stuck out to me was, where was it at here? Well, and it was on verse 22:16. After the angels, said, the Lord said, because you have not withheld your son, blah blah blah. But I don't know. I picture that as, needing to let go. I'm holding on to it, but I need to let it go so that he can just, give me that freedom and what he wants for my life and to do with my life and all that. And afterwards it was in Ecclesiastes, which there were several things I was gonna get out which I don't know if I should or not, my study Bible or whatever, because I didn't understand a few of the things, like which way it was meant, but it kind of, I guess, just seemed more like freedom. And it said, there are righteous people who get what the actions of the wicked deserve, and there are wicked people who get what the actions of the righteous deserve. The righteous, the wise, and their works are in God's hands. But then there was also that part, like eat, drink, and whatever, like just enjoy life type of thing. Like overall, I guess, just felt like, the free will, we all make our choices. Anyway, he can just bring good out of anything, and he's there, and he wants to be there. And I think the enjoy life part is more kind of releasing that insecurity, I guess, with my body or food or whatever. So anyway, I feel like I was telling my friend, we're doing this book study, a Sally Clarkson book, and
now I love Sally Clarkson. I do. But sometimes it makes me feel like I have to live up here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way. Now, I don't know if her better, like I read The Mission of Motherhood years ago with some people, and I was like,
unattainable.
Like, this is putting so much on me, like that I have to do this. And it didn't give me freedom. Like, so many people love it, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, no ma'am. I cannot live up to this. That was years and years ago when the boys were littler. But I don't know if you feel that way with her books, but maybe, hey, I want you to go there, baby. So anyways, but finish what you were saying. That just reminded me of something.
Well, I think my friend, she does, but I also am reading her book different about her son that had like OCD, ADHD, like all these things. And it just gives you a different picture. Like, it wasn't perfect all the time. So
yes. Okay. So that's good. Yeah. Have you read Mission of Motherhood?
No, but it's on my wish list because everybody says it. But I was just telling my friend, growing up, or even now, people probably, more growing up, they would look at me and just think like my life is perfect. But I said, I feel like I'm I mean, this is a negative thing, but I just feel like I'm just a mess, like all the food issues, weight issues, our marriage stuff, friend stuff. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that, but I'm just like,
It's okay.
Can I have some gum?
You were telling your friend something. I don't know if.
I
yeah,
want some gum.
No, ma'am. You go back in there.
but I don't know. Anyway,
I need to
It's
probably
just-
read more of her books. I don't know, but go ahead. It's just what?
well, I overwhelm myself with a lot, like homeschooling. I didn't know I was going to be so overwhelmed with trying to, curriculum and all that. Like, it's just insane. And then God takes me down all these different paths, showing me it's like he took me down a Charlotte Mason path, but then my type A, it's like he said, I want you to see the beauty of my world, but this isn't a good fit, because you would be like, I didn't do this and this. So I'm just like, where are we going to land? I mean, it's just a trust thing, because I'm like,
Let me tell you, homeschooling, because I homeschool my boys,
yeah.
it's just as much about as you growing
Oh, yeah.
as them, because I was like, oh my gosh, he did not call me to this just for the boys. They called me to that because I probably know all the curriculum that's out there. I've done classical, I've done this, at Charlotte Mason, Sunlight, my father's all blah, blah. I mean, all this stuff I have done.
Yeah.
And I know who I am now, and I don't even stress.
Yeah.
So I know where you are in that. And I think I was doing that book study with people in Virginia, and they're very like this with the mission of motherhood. And I was at a different spot in my life because my husband at the time, he's not like that husband. He's not and so it kind of made me feel bad. And all these homeschool books made me feel like it's so unattainable back then. There was so legalistic stuff, and that I found God just said, you listen to me.
Yeah.
It is Holy Spirit-led homeschooling. And to the fact, when we lived in Monterey, California, I put up all the science books. This is how amazing God is. I put all the science books up, and I said, all we're going to do is study low tide and high tide. We go, and I pray, and we would find stuff there that nobody who lived there had seen in years, like 25-legged starfish. When we went whale watching, I was praying that we would see the whales. And the guy on the boat goes, oh my gosh, this never happens. You've got to see this. And these whales, humpback whales, were coming up to our boat, rocking them and breaching in front of us. So then we'd go home, we'd find all these things, and we would label them. We'd get books, science books or whatever. And then we would do read-alouds, tons of read-alouds in the car, read-alouds, narrations, Charlotte Mason. And then we would do conversations. I built so much of a relationship with my kids, because sometimes they would all want to talk, and I would say, some days I'd be like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk, and we're going to have relationships today. And if we don't get to the school, I'm fine with that. And then if their attitudes were bad, I put up the books and say, this whole week we're working on character issues, because, so you have to find what works for you with your type A. I'm more of a rebel. I can break rules. I'm always there's a way around this, and so, but they're going to be fine no matter what, because my kids did go to high school a little bit, but they finished back at home. My one son, he had dyslexia and convergence insufficiency. We had to start over and over and over with reading all the time. But now he got recognized in college he went to fire training. He just graduated, but 3.6 or higher, grade average. And so you have everything in you those kids need. So try not to make it too stressful. And I know it's hard with the homeschooling, but just doing even read alouds. So if I always tell women, if I had to do it over again, and I tell you what I would do, I would say I'd read Sarah Mackenzie's book, if you've read that.
Rest,
Yes, and
or
for
the
children.
Okay.
Yeah, for their children's sake. Have you read that one? And then Wild and Free podcast. I'm like, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I feel like. That's all you need. But some moms need more of this. So I'm like really mini. I pray every morning what we're supposed to do, you know, and we do mini unit studies if she's interested in something, or we do. I just don't even worry because I've been
Yeah.
through it. And I know they're getting more than they would in high school. And then when they get older, you can find people to teach the stuff that you don't want to teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if that helps you, but just know that it's going to be just fine. I promise you.
Yeah. That's when people ask me, oh, you know, how did it go? And I'm like, well, I have grown more in this last year because of this homeschooling.
Isn't it crazy what God does?
Anything. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah.
I think you're doing a good job. And, you know, these body issues, these food. So how are you with food?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, I was telling my husband, because last week I did that 3-day de-bloat, and I get, you know, like, I feel like I'm a mixture of type A and type B, because like I like structure, but not to a point where I feel controlled, and maybe that's because of my past, but you know, it gets overwhelming, you know, if I got to find myself something to eat and then fix food for everybody else, and then trying to plug it in, you know, to the Lose It app or whatever, and I'm just like, and then I feel like I let
and you don't have to
down, you know.
No, and you don't have to do all of that. You can just even email her some stuff sometimes, probably, if that's easier, to say, okay, this is all I remember, or just put it in the app and say, this is all I remember, this is how I'm feeling. I mean, don't think.
And I told her, I was like I did that, you know, and she's like, you know, I want you eating 80% clean, 20% cheat, which like I do too, but like I still need like to overcome issues. And I told her, like, you know, I've got all these issues, you know, from my past, and I'm hoping, you know, get worked through to where I guess it is, I go in these different mindsets. Like, you know, I looked last night at the that thing that you guys are doing, the
trio
cleanse, yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to do that, and then just never eat anything bad, and blah blah blah. And then it's
now,
like,
remember that video I did with Tara?
Yes. And then
if you do that, you're gonna fail.
No. Then I saw those in my closet where I keep papers and books, and I got those, that energy hunger thing, you know, and read over that. And then I, you know, it seems like I want to, you know, try to eat healthy, and then it's like my husband had a work cookout, and then 4th of July is coming up, you know what I mean? Like I think, oh my gosh, we should never eat sugar again, and my kids, like, I feel like I've ruined them. And
so that is where my shakes come in to play.
Yeah.
Seriously, or like I like Trim Healthy Mama. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where it comes into play, because I know if we're gonna have 4th of July coming up, if we're gonna have these other things coming up that could possibly be there, I know I can have 2 shakes a day, and I did that. That doesn't mean I'm gonna like try to go gung ho, but at least it I've gotten good nutrition in my body. It hasn't been too much, and so to me, those shakes help me out where that's concerned, because it helps me be prepared, and it's not like this huge meal prep thing. So they're there for in emergency purposes. It's like, okay, I'm starving, and I love my absolute favorite of all of them is the way the mint chocolate. Like, I love it.
I have that coming.
So. Yeah, so that is my favorite. So I don't okay? So I don't ever mind having that for dinner, and it really does keep me full. And that is a testament in itself, because I'm hungry even after I eat. Like I have
Yeah.
always been this huge eater, saying, "Oh, do you want that? Let me eat the rest off your plate, whatever." So,
Yeah.
it really does. So, use the shakes for those kinds of
Yeah.
days, and then that way you're not so stressed, and you're not stressing that on 4th of July you have to prep all this healthy stuff. You've got your shake,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to. They're supposed to come today. They didn't have the canisters of the dairy free, so I just got chocolate and chocolate mint and the
okay.
regular.
And
Anyway,
I have gotten chocolate, but it's to me,
no.
it's that, yeah, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no, this is it. I love it. And
Yeah.
I would think I'm going to get tired of this, and I really don't. I don't get tired
Yeah.
of it. But it's just this balancing act of life because I have a
Yeah.
husband that does not eat healthy at all, at all, at all.
Yeah.
And like I've told you about that, right? So it's like burgers, hamburgers, spaghetti, chicken fried steak, blah, 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 blah. No vegetables. He thinks, corn's a vegetable. And with the potato, that's all we have. And so I have to be like, okay, I'm cooking a healthy meal tonight, and that can be leftovers, and then I can make him a meal, and then he can have the leftovers the next night. I have to kind of do, and then if I have plenty of healthy snacks, I know I can make those big enough sometimes for a lunch.
Yeah.
Or a snack, so I try not to make it too difficult, and then I have my shakes.
Yeah.
So, and if I know in my mind, there's at least, you can make it up to 30, 20 things that I love that I'm going to cook. And then I don't have to think about any more recipes. I know these are the 20 things that are on my list.
Yeah.
That's all I have to worry about. Maybe a Taco Tuesday night. He loves Taco Tuesday night, and I make a taco salad.
Yeah.
For me. And he likes a chicken fried steak night, so that might be every other week. And then he likes spaghetti night, but I can do zoodles or I can do spaghetti squash with that, so I'm not eating the carbs and all that with that. So I've just found ways that kind of help me with his eating. But it is in here more than anything. It's in here more than anything, and so. Just know that if you want a hot dog, eat the darn hot dog.
Yeah.
But eat the shakes. Have the shakes. So if you're thinking, I'm going to go to this 4th of July thing and there's going to be hamburgers and hot dogs, just have your shakes in and be like, that's my treat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, like you said, it just kind of takes the having to think about like, oh, I've got to, even making a smoothie, like think of the recipe to make it, like I can just make the shake or whatever. So
yeah. Absolutely, you can do that. And so I've tried the Young Living's protein powder because I do Young Living too, and they use goat and whey. I just can't handle anything with goat in it. It just doesn't taste as good to me. Plus I love how Isogenics has a balance of protein, carbs, and fats, and the protein is a lot higher, and I need the extra protein. So that's what I love about theirs. I wish one company had everything, but I can find pretty much whatever I want now with Isogenics and Young Living. So I'm just like, yes, okay, we've got it covered with these two companies.
How long, I was going to ask that cleanse, how long is that, all phases of it?
So you do, I'm not sure all phases yet. I'm just letting Dancy, so if you want it, just let me know. We're going to do the three, let me show you. They just came in today. So I think this is how big they are. So this is that powder. The ICP powder, and then this is the enzyme. Now, these are awesome. I've always used these, and my son has been having issues with food. These are a little different. They're not in the box. So I guess you just take, instead of the 2 tablets, you take 1, and then you have this comfort tone. So these 3 are going to be for 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then after that, which I love that this is kind of a, because I used to study also from another clinical nutritionist, and she talks about how do they need to ask you something?
Oh, what do you mean? away for a little bit. Probably a couple days.
Are you good, baby?
Yeah.
Okay. Mommy's almost done, okay?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So what was I going to tell you? Oh, so you do how Dante's using these products is really great because you do need a clean out process, and everybody has parasites because I was actually mentored by an herbalist for 3 years. So I can muscle test, I can do all that, and to see what our bodies are needing. And parasites were something else that we would hit hard too. So, it's that carefree. So we're going to do the parasite thing, and then you replenish with the probiotics and everything else. So I've started I used to use Plexus's probiotics, but I am using Young Living's probiotics now, and just like their enzymes, these enzymes are helping my son with his eating. So, okay, these are bi-layer caplets. Okay, so they just put them all in one. Okay, so that's a little different how they come now.
Go ahead and go. And
Go ahead and go. But yeah, so if you're interested, I don't want you to have to be like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I know there's isogenics, and I know there's this. And so I just do a combination of isogenics and Young Living. And Trim Healthy Mama, because isogenics makes it, like I said, very flexible for me.
Yeah.
And I like their shakes. And I like also just a few other things. And then now I use, if you saw my deal, I have all these Young Living oils. You use oils, right?
Yeah.
Young Living oils. Okay.
Yes.
So you already order. You have an account, right?
Yes.
Young Living. Okay. So so now this gut cleansing thing, I'm like, I'm excited about it. So if you want to do it, let us know. Are you in the group yet for it, or?
No, I didn't know if you had to be set in stone, you were doing it, or you had to follow a certain diet or whatever on it.
So. No, this is just a protocol. And what you're doing with us is going to go well with this. So, I'm telling you, women with diastasis still float so much that I think this is so important to get this down, because did you see Dancy's pictures at all?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're eating like that all the time, I really do believe that so many moms who have diastasis, but their tummy's not going down, it's because of the bloat.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, it's also appealing to me. I mean, I watched a show 7 years ago on Animal Planet, Monsters Inside Me, about parasites, and it ruined my life. For real. I have a fear because I'm this. That's one of my things I do in this notebook. This awareness that it brought, really stole that freedom of enjoying outside.
But what is
parasites
think
everywhere.
About this, but what about God's word? He says we can drink poison and it won't hurt us. We can, with the snakes.
Yeah.
They're not going to hurt us. So those are the things that go through my mind, even if I can't get the organic stuff or I can't do all of it right.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the best I can. And I am praying. I'm like, God, I have authority here on earth.
Yeah.
And this isn't going to harm me. And you're protecting me. And while I eat this, I get serious about this stuff. And so you want to be outside and join your kids and just think these parasites are not harming my body. They are not harming my kids. I plead the blood of Jesus over us. It's that trust issue. You just trust God. Yeah. Everything is everywhere. So just trust.
Yeah.
and you can do the cleansing, and maybe that will help you. So maybe I was going to say, maybe that will help. So definitely, if you want to hop on and do it, it'll be fun. And you don't have to do it right when we start on June 11th, just when you're ready. But I don't think it's going to be this extra thing, just what you're doing with us. I think the bedtime belly buster is something that, I don't know. I feel lighter when I wake up in the morning. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I know also that I'm getting older, that I need extra protein, and I'm putting in greens in my body at night, and it's helping me sleep. So all of it combined is good. And we don't get enough superfoods even in our food because our soil is so depleted. So the greens that I'm putting in, I'm getting protein because our body tends to lose muscle the older we get. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this. I'll give you a little bit. See, this is stuff that gets brought into my house. Rice Krispie, Fruity Pebbles. This is stuff that's brought into my house for people. So I always give her little pinches and say, okay, you have this much. So, but yeah, okay, so I guess we could say you could do, okay, from here, you're going to pray, you're going to trust God for protection. And you're going to trust also with, just with your husband and letting that go with that forgiveness. So I know that there's different layers, but that's a biggie. That's a biggie because it can affect other areas, like forgiving that lady. Yeah. Because it's not just, it's affecting other things in your body. Yeah. So are you taping?
Am I what?
Taping yet with your
wife? No, I haven't. I was gonna try that. So
okay. And how's the breathing and everything going good?
Yeah,
we can talk about that tomorrow, but
it's going good and I'm doing it, but then I sit there and I'm like, you think the more that you do it, like the better you get, but then I start questioning myself, like, I'm filling up my ribs, but then my chest goes up and down, so am I breathing in my chest, but I feel it down here.
Your chest is gonna raise like the last third. Just know it's gonna raise a little bit.
Okay.
So
but
yeah, and the more you practice it.
Good.
Okay, awesome. All right. So we can talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to, when we get off this, I'm gonna, download these videos so I have this whole thing for you written out. So I can add these into that, and then I've got to find that dream interpretation video. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's locked and hidden. So I'm going to have to maybe change the privacy on it. So you can watch that if you want, if you're interested in dream interpretation stuff. And then, but I don't want you being like, okay, here's this book, here's this book, here's this book. Just pray and, just see what God says. So anyway, all right. So are you good? I mean, is that like stretching you to pray for her like that a little bit?
No, I'm good. Like, I know good will come out of it, just so.
Okay. And the other thing that I really, 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 really want you to do is when you have those thoughts and you're feeling so down, that's when you have to do the stuff the most, when you don't feel like it. You'll be like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. Or this isn't working. No, that's when you do it, and just keep saying it.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. And then just let me know how you're doing as you do it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to figure out what all I need to do for my mama, and then all this. Okay?
I hope everything goes well with her. So.
Thank you. Me too. So, all right. Well, I will talk to you later. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.